Welcome into another edition of Belly Up Sound Off. We got a little different crew here. We got the old the goon here taking a drink. Yeah, we got the Rattlesnake there. We got two noobs for us. We got Tom and Randy with us. Appreciate you guys joining us and being a part of the show. This is going to be a little different. We usually record a early week. We're doing a Sunday night recording. This is the special edition Tiger King. I don't think I need to reference that anymore. But
we're talking about Tiger Woods, right?
Yeah, absolutely. He's been killing it lately.
He's the Tiger King.
But for those of you that have been living in quarantine, I'm sure this is one of your guilty pleasures, like many of us. We've all finished it. We're going to give our take on it. Guys, I appreciate you being a part of it. Really feel free to shout out at any point. There's no rhyme or reason. But what's your guys' take overall from the first episode to the end? I know Randy and I were talking just a little bit before we started. Every episode, as it moved on, you're like, this can't get any better, but it just did, and it did, and it did. So what do you guys think about this in no particular order? Anybody, go for it.
Yeah, I was thinking it can't get any more white trash, but it just kept getting more white trash. I was like, that's incredible. I didn't think that level of white trash existed. But, I mean, I think we can all at least agree of all the shitty people in this show, of all the things that everybody did that was so wrong and so horrendous, Carole's the worst by far. And she definitely
the absolute worst.
Yeah, she's the worst. We need, you know what I think would get President Trump reelected 100%, no question, is if he did a pardon for Joe Exotic and instead opened up an investigation on Carole for the murder of her husband. I think everybody would be like, I support Trump at this point. I don't care about anything else.
I figured obviously
I'd get a lot of young votes.
I figured we would talk about Carole.
Win over a lot of the younger crowd.
Yes, but Tom and Randy, your guys' thoughts in general. Obviously, we talked about Carole quickly. I think most people in America, as well as us, maybe I could be wrong, all kind of feel the same. But your guys' thoughts from episode 1 to the end and where it left off. And towards the end too, I'll ask a couple questions about this. But what did you guys think about the overall the whole? Did you guys know about this before it even was released on Netflix? Did anybody hear about this?
So I mean, the memes hit first. Go ahead.
I was gonna say I actually knew slightly about it. Oddly enough, I grew up in the Carolinas. Used to go to Myrtle Beach all the time, and Doc Antiel down in Myrtle Beach. I've seen his little shop up at it's called Barefoot Landy down in South Carolina there, but I didn't realize the extent of it or like the connection it had to any of this insanity. So like seeing it all play out on Netflix was, again, like you guys were saying, you can't expect it.
It was beautiful.
You don't think it can get crazier, and it just keeps getting worse.
Where in Carolina? Are you from North Carolina or South Carolina?
I grew up down in Charlotte.
Okay.
North Carolina.
Yeah, because I'm at my parents' right now in Myrtle, and we're like 10 minutes from Barefoot Landing.
Yep. Yeah, so I'm sure you're familiar with it then, that little spot.
My wife and some of my siblings.
We'll get some raw footage tomorrow.
Yeah, my wife and some of my siblings went and like petted his like baby tigers like a year ago.
Yeah, my sister did it. It's weird to think now what it is.
Right.
So before me and my wife moved to where we're at now, we lived in I guess a city, or I don't know, it's a township, I guess, right outside of Toledo, Ohio. And
Gross.
it was called Perrysburg. And actually, to tell you the truth, is Carole ended up inheriting some tigers from. There was this huge zoo in Perrysburg that this guy ran on his own property, and he ended up getting shut down by everybody. Kind of like this story. It was like crazy. Got shut down, didn't have the permits. Well, she ended up taking a lot of his stuff, and in the show, I didn't even realize it, but I put 2 and 2 together, and I was reading, like when she was posting the documents and stuff like that, I was like, holy cow, this is where a lot of stuff. So my wife, every time she comes in, I'm watching something, she's like, now what in the hell are you watching? Like, I always find, like Rattlesnake said, the most white trash thing. It's just, dude, it's a train wreck, and you can't get away from it. But to me, like, we're talking Joe Exotic. We've already talked about Carole. His ex-husband, John Finley. The whole point, what was his deal with that dude? Never had a shirt on the entire episode, I don't think.
Well, he's sexy. Why didn't he need a shirt?
Yeah.
Come on, dude.
So that, and then you got once I got to the end, the very last episode, to me, we haven't even talked about Jeff Lowe, but to me, Jeff Lowe is like they explained him, one of the biggest con artists, and it fell into place quickly that maybe it wasn't the feds and stuff said this is far from over, but they make you think that there was an elaborate scheme the whole time by Jeff Lowe, making sure that he would take this money, or just in general take over this entire thing that Joe's put his entire life on the line for, and there was an underlying thing, and then it seemed like every time they interviewed somebody else, this entire I don't know, community, I guess you would say, it's just like one of the biggest corrupt communities you could possibly be part of.
Yeah, it was just like a beautiful disaster from start to finish, and the build up it just kept going. Like you think it's over, and someone else just says, "Hold my beer," and goes and does something else crazy. But
yeah, I don't know who I liked the most. I mean, each person was just as terrible as the next, and it was just hilarious. We had that dude out here in Myrtle Beach who had like 8 wives, and thought of himself as like a god, essentially. Was just wild. That guy needs his own show, honestly. He needs to be like the sequel. And then we had Joe Exotic and his whole crew. They're all like heroin addicts, like junkies. And then you have Carole, who definitely murdered her husband 100%. And then married to that weird dude that takes photos with him on a leash now. And then on top of that, you got that Jeff Lowe guy who comes in and is clearly a con artist. And I loved how at the very end, when he's talking about setting up the best new zoo, it was going to be like outside the casino in Oklahoma down off 35. And then like 2 weeks later, that other dude dips out because he's like,
just
this
bailed
guy's
on him.
Yeah. It's just absurd. He's totally a con artist, obviously.
So what do you guys
think?
He
won though.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah. So
yeah, I mean, I feel like he's the one that won the whole thing. He ended up with the park, and whatever he does with it's on him now.
Yeah, I think
Joe Exotic's gone.
I think the feds are going to get him though. Like
there's going to be so much more. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but I feel like if he's doing all that in front of the camera, I feel like he has to have something behind the camera too.
So Tom, with majority of America, with us here, what's your take on Carole? Obviously, we're going to get into that. I mean, you talk about somebody that started every show with "Hey, all you cool cats and kittens," like straight up. Yeah, it just makes me cringe.
All you cool cats and kittens.
While she's riding her bike. Tom, what's your take on Carole? And obviously, we're not detectives, we're not anything, but you would think on paper, and whether you side with me or not even on paper, watching this documentary, it's very easy to kind of put her in the situation, put her as the person that took care of her or murdered her husband. Are you on that side?
So I'm going to keep it very simple, and in the words of the great Joe Exotic, I guarantee that bitch, Carole, killed her husband.
Yep.
Right? I mean, there's no question.
I completely agree.
Like, you can't, 2 days after your husband dies, you're happy-go-lucky, just chatting it up with people, happy to be wherever you're at. 2 days later, a normal person's going to be, just distraught.
Well, mean, let's look at this. She changed the will to say "and disappear." Which
I was going to say, yeah.
The lawyer said he'd never seen
that. Was the shady part.
Okay. On top of that, she did the minimum. What was it, like 7 days minimum to declare someone dead that's missing? She did the minimum to declare him dead.
She just waited till the next hour.
7 days done.
So she could take everything. And if you ask a detective, they'll pretty much all agree, like, if you're looking for suspects, like, where do you start? You look at motive and, like, opportunity, right? And she had both those. Like, outrageous. She had the most motive of anybody. She had the most opportunity of anybody. She definitely murdered her husband. And I hope she rots in prison. We need to release Joe Exotic, that meth head. He's insane, but I love him. We need to lock up Carole.
I just don't understand how she wasn't a suspect at any point. Like, there was, at least from the way it was portrayed, she was never brought up to be a suspect in any of it.
Her brother
And
was a detective. I don't know.
Yeah,
Maybe.
his
Yeah,
brother
they made a point to
was
say
on the
that.
sheriff's.
Yep.
Yeah.
So obviously talking of that, but there is one person we haven't talked about that, and his name slips me right now. But as soon as I describe him, you guys will know. He was portrayed as somebody called him the like life-size Chucky doll. Did that dude not creep you out? I forget what his name is.
The fat
But
guy.
the dude with like
the strip
It's
club
yes.
owner, bar manager guy.
oh my god, yeah, like
Yeah,
Owner.
I'm drawing a
Cut.
blank on his name too.
but that guy just freaked me out. And my wife was like, "You gotta be." She's like, "Are these real fucking people?" Like, I'm like, "Yes." Like, this is like the perfect train wreck
This
that you're ever
happened.
gonna
Real
watch.
people in Oklahoma.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was gonna say, that's Oklahoma for you.
Yeah.
No offense to any Olivia in Oklahoma that's watching or anything,
Oh, I mean,
but like,
complete offense. If you live in Oklahoma, fuck you.
Nothing got
I'm from
quiet.
Texas. I can say that.
Yeah,
Texans
I mean,
can say
but
that.
I mean, is Oklahoma the Florida, the middle of the country? Is that
Yeah.
what they just got labeled
and
as? Because of Joe Exotic?
I mean, I would say it's 100 times worse than Florida. Because, like, yeah, you have crazy fucking people in Florida, but at least you got the beaches. Oklahoma, you don't have shit. So you have crazy
Make up
people
for
and
it,
nothing.
but
I mean,
yeah, they got the Thunder,
he's got
kind of.
his
Not right now, but
he can jet ski across it.
Dude, that jet
Yeah.
ski scene is incredible.
That in the music, like that was like, yeah, the best action figure. Little, I mean, that was just great, and it was just absolutely just thrown in there for no reason. Like, really, like,
Netflix bar none does the best job about scenes like that, making things. I mean, just priceless for people like you and me to watch.
I mean, I think we were talking about Free Wayne and Free Gucci Mane and all that stuff. You remember this. I think we need a Free Joe Exotic purely based on his musical talent alone. Those music
Well,
videos are incredible.
I saw Cardi B started a GoFundMe either today or yesterday, of all people, which is perfect. That it's to I don't know what a GoFundMe is going to do to get somebody out of prison, but maybe pay for his lawyer fees. But I don't know. But either way,
yeah.
I mean this was what 2017, 2018. So you can look it up. There's still stuff going on. You know, there's still stuff constantly in the works. But what was his final sentence? I totally forget what it was. Oh yeah, there you go. This is our high quality plugs right here. Slide this in. Feel like
Dude,
Jordan
this guy
Moore.
is a musical genius. His music is just a hit. I can't stop listening to it.
People talk about David Bowie, Elton John, Joe Exotic, all in the same sentence.
Right, the Beatles, it's all Joe Exotic.
Where is Joe Exotic on the all-time list? You know,
Yeah.
where
I
does
mean,
he go in the bracket?
But yeah, I was saying we could probably do a Tiger King bracket, like based off of crazies. There's enough people in it.
Or should we just do a Tiger bracket? Like Joe Exotic, Tony the Tiger, Tiger Woods. Anything with the name Tiger is in this bracket, and you have to compete to be the ultimate Tiger King.
I think that I know Tom has been pumping out some brackets. I know he likes that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, Joe Exotic just calls himself Tiger King. He hasn't won a single bracket.
He hasn't won much of anything at this point, but yes.
I was gonna say Joe hasn't won anything in his life. It doesn't seem like.
Poor Joe, man.
Aside from winning over 2 straight guys to become his husbands.
Oh, meth will do that, man.
And the one dude straight, just okay. Speaking of that, like watching that, you're talking about so the dude decides he's going to run for president or governor, and he's got a campaign manager. He's in the office. Yeah, he's in there. Campaign manager's in there talking to Travis, and Travis is, you don't know what's going on. He's, don't point that gun at me. And all of a sudden you just hear it. You kind of see a flash on the bottom of the screen, and you just see the guy like this, and he just sits there for like almost a minute. Like, are you like?
What was that about? Holy shit!
Can you imagine like
that's
seeing that happen in front of you?
Anticipated any of that? Like you're watching, like the across. It's like there's
nothing.
Clips of talking to the camera, and he's like, "Oh, Joe's ex-husband." And then all of a sudden, no, he shot himself like 3 years ago. I don't
Yeah,
understand it.
I think that was one of the most jaw-dropping, if not the most jaw-dropping
Like
moment.
there was nothing that led up to it. Yeah.
No, I was just like, wait, what? He just fucking killed himself, and we're watching the dude react to it? Holy shit. That was the next level.
On that so bad. That was just a massive twist.
So he forgot the one in the clip then, right? Like, because he said, like,
Yeah.
what was he saying?
It was a Ruger.
Yeah,
he goes, don't
said
worry, there's
that a
none in
Ruger
the
doesn't
clip.
fire.
None in the clip. Yeah.
It doesn't
Yeah,
fire without
chamber.
a clip.
One in the chamber.
Unless there's one in the chamber.
Oh, dude, what an
safety.
idiot.
Come on now.
Yo, I'm not gonna lie though, they were acting insanely dumb with their guns the whole time. That blew my mind.
Joe's like on set, like shooting those dolls and stuff in the studio.
Usually people that like own guns are pretty good with guns. Like a majority of the time, if somebody owns a lot of guns, they're usually fairly responsible with guns. He was just like walking around like shooting shit. Like I was like, oh my god, dude, I would not be in this environment. I'd be like, no, I would punch somebody in the fucking face if they pointed a loaded gun at my face. Like you're getting cold clocked hard.
So
cool.
Obviously we've broken down a lot of characters, but what was your guys' take on, and I forget her name, the token lesbian they had on that got her arm ripped off during the filming?
The token lesbian.
Oh, most fat woman in the world.
Yeah, respect. She got her arm ripped off and went back to work within what, 2 weeks? A week?
Yeah, to be fair.
Yeah.
To be fair, was she even a lesbian? Are you just assuming, Mike?
No, she said she was, I think.
When did she say she was lesbian?
I'll watch it back.
Yeah, go get that clip. Go get that clip, Mike. You fucking called out, dude.
I'll put it on here.
I mean, everybody else in that show was gay except possibly her, so...
Oh, yeah, well, she's the one straight one.
Maybe! The rest of the fucking crew I didn't expect either.
Ladies and gentlemen, don't ever judge a book by its cover.
But yeah, I agree. She was definitely the most
right
badass
now.
character. She had her arm fucking ripped off and went back to work. I was like, man, I told my wife, I was like, I wish I liked what I did that much.
I would have ate that up, yeah.
Fucking ripped off and want to go back to work.
But either way, go ahead.
I was gonna say we're talking about all the, his husband, the alleged lesbian, allegedly. We're gonna wait until he gets that clip.
I'm not gonna say.
We haven't really talked about John Finley yet, right? Everyone.
Yeah, I just said something. Yeah, I kind of said something about him, but yeah, go ahead. That's perfect.
Well, I mean, everyone's talking about social distancing, right? Have we noticed that the man's teeth were social distancing?
I think he openly said that they dabbled in meth. They dabbled in meth.
Dude, they didn't just dabble; they were meth heads. I mean, they were addicted.
You don't social distance your teeth without a lot of meth, right?
Yeah.
The man's gotten new teeth since then. Apparently, everyone on the internet's freaking out about him. I haven't seen it, but allegedly he is a quote hottie now with some new teeth.
I think he was always a hottie. Don't overlook him.
So breaking news, unless you read this article. So her name is Kelsey Sapphire.
Are you still trying to defend the fact that you called her a lesbian without knowing?
Oh,
is this what you're doing?
I got it even better now.
Oh my
She goes by Saf. She goes by Saf, and it says Saf is now reportedly trans and goes by the name he, him pronouns, according to author Robert Moore. So, okay.
Wait, so she goes by author Robert Moore? Is that her name?
No, but by author Robert Moore is the one that wrote it. Says that she goes by
so
he.
So she goes by author Robert Moore. Okay, got it.
Yeah, that works too.
I'll call her author Robert.
So he's
maybe she wasn't
because he got his arm ripped off and went back to work within a week.
Well, technically, she got her arm ripped off. He is missing an arm. Wouldn't that be correct?
She got killed and came back as a man.
Yeah, so she is the most badass man.
Oh. Dude, I can't keep up with
man.
You see the Spider-Man meme like that?
It's 2020. It all goes. It's all cool.
Yeah, I'm just trying to keep up. All right.
Oh God, but either way.
Also,
go ahead. Here we go.
Who was the manager or the other guy that like became a mechanic later on? You know what I'm talking about? He had the mustache.
The dude that was the hitman, or
No, not the fucking hitman. That guy sucked.
yeah, he bitched us.
Dude, he bitched out. What a pussy. Somebody.
$3,000.
But then he said he just did it to stick Joe. He took the money.
We need to come back to that.
Okay, we're gonna get back to that. Anyway, my point was the manager with the mustache, who ended up becoming a mechanic later on after all this shit passed over. He was working on like race cars on dirt tracks.
Without any legs? That's all you had to say.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what you're talking about, yeah.
Without any legs. Did you ever notice his fucking teeth though?
Yeah,
they're like
all
perfect crystal white, straight, but clearly fake. So like the whole crew, I'm positive, was all doing meth regularly.
They said it. They said that. Even actually, you look up John Finley right now. One of the big things right now when you search him is he got a new set of teeth.
We were just talking about that. Are you like, where were you, Mike?
For God, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I was looking up the shit. So whatever.
Oh, God.
Do better.
Jeez. Quality radio.
At this point, and he got busy.
Gotta do what you gotta do.
Mike,
but usually, just so you guys know, this is how Belly Up Sound Off works. We just talk. We don't know what we're talking about. But we usually end on a sound off. So what we do is we go around.
No, we usually know what we're talking about. You don't.
Yeah, that too. I just host it and go from defer to person. But what we do is go around the room and kind of sound off on something. So is there one person, one take, one thing from this show that you guys want to elaborate on quickly, or I know elaborating quickly, that's an oxymoron, but talk about whether it's Joe, Carole, anything about the show, looking forward to. There's got to be a sequel, right? There's got to be a season 2.
Some type of spin-off, I'd hope.
But we'll start Randy with you, and then we'll go to Tom, and then we'll end up with Rattlesnake because I'll try to keep him in line to make sure he doesn't talk like Jared. But Randy, anything from the show that we didn't touch on that you want to talk about, or anything? I mean, even if we touched on, what is your take overall and everything?
I just think it was perfect timing. I mean, I just looked it up, and I don't know. I don't really look up movies often, but it had 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. Is that common?
No.
Like, how bored are we that this scored 100%? Like, it was a masterpiece, but usually at least one person has a problem with it. At least one person has a problem with everything, you know? So 100% on Rotten Tomatoes, that's impressive, and I hope we get a spinoff on at least one of the characters, but there's a lot of time behind that. The dude who shot all that film definitely deserves an award for what he put together and the timing of everything.
He just
probably get more.
We didn't even talk about him. He just straight ran out of town. He just said, "Screw it, I'm out of here."
That guy was a fucking dickhead, though, wasn't he?
Keep it rolling.
I still thought that guy was a dickhead, though, regardless. I mean, I feel for him, but I was kind of like, you're kind of fucking dick, dude.
So Tom
in the bag, not helping anything. He just keeps not helping at all.
So Tom, what you got anything to add, or you got any? What's your take? I know I kind of asked you on that, but anything that we didn't cover, anything we did cover, you want to elaborate on?
So I need some help here. I'm blanking on the name. His business partner that kind of screwed him over at the end, right?
You talking Jeff Lowe?
Yes, Jeff Lowe. Thank you. Jeff Lowe, 110% has something shady going on. Needs to be investigated. Not that Joe Exotic didn't do some things wrong, but I think that Jeff Lowe really kind of set him up on some of this stuff. He set up all the little charges along with that murder for hire, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So, the man has, like, season 2 for me would be following him and finding out what kind of shady stuff he has going. I'd love to see what kind of bank accounts he's looking like, because that man definitely does not have the money he says he does.
Well, that's what they said. He's a proclaimed millionaire with nothing.
Oh yeah.
He walks around in those affliction shirts, like when you go to B-dubs at night on the UFC fights. All those guys that think they're gonna get a big hard on and stuff like that after the fight, but then he's wearing the bandana. But yeah,
compare bank statement.
So I know Rattlesnake, you're chomping at the bit. What you got?
Well, first of all, Jeff Lowe deserves to be in prison purely based off his outfits. I mean, that guy, I'm not a fashion police by any means. I mean, look at what I'm fucking wearing. But that guy, I mean, I don't know what religion y'all believe in, but if there's a hell, he belongs in it for what he wears. I mean, he's one of the worst people I've ever seen in my entire life. It made me, like, have a migraine just looking at what the fuck he was wearing. That guy should get his ass kicked just for the way he dresses. Also, the guy that recorded the documentary, right? The old dude that just
Yeah, I think his name is Richard. Or something like that,
clearly
yeah.
Joe burned all his shit. Like, obviously, let's be real. But did y'all ever watch Poltergeist 2?
I was just gonna say he's actually like a big producer.
No, not that. You're going the wrong direction.
Okay, where
Poltergeist
I
2,
wouldn't say
the
that.
villain from it. Tell me this doesn't kind of look like that fucking dude, especially with the hat and everything.
Oh yeah, I can get with that. Yeah.
I mean, pretty identical.
Poltergeist 2, the Beast. He's the villain in Poltergeist 2. Definitely, I think possibly the demon that was in the Poltergeist. More importantly, my biggest takeaway was we need a sequel with the guy from Myrtle, because that guy is just wildly interesting. And it really bugs me that Carole has gotten away with all this shit. Like, it really, I kind of understand, like, I'm not saying you should hire a hitman, but I understand why Joe is so fucking obsessed with taking this bitch down. She is the worst person I think I've ever seen. And then she, like, hired people to follow him around to disrupt his business and shit. I immediately, episode 1, I was like, I don't even know what this show's about, but I know I fucking hate her. So I just hope somehow Carole goes down for something. If not for the murder that she clearly committed. I mean, Jeffrey Epstein didn't kill himself. Carole's husband didn't kill himself. I mean, I think that's what I can take away from, like, 2020.
What's
with
everyone's theories of where he is?
Like, we might.
Carol's husband.
Oh, I thought you were saying Epstein. Carol's
What do we
husband?
think
No,
Carol's
there is
husband
no
is?
theory.
Is he
I
in the
think
septic tank or?
Yeah.
Either that or legit he was fed to the tigers, because when they
Yeah.
interviewed her about that, nobody's like if you legit didn't do something, you're like either defensive or you're just like, yeah, like, and she was like it was just so cold the way she was about the whole situation, like the whole thing. Like, if I was her new husband now, like, I'd be the first one out. Like, there's no way.
Tell me if y'all can
Oh,
y'all read this clearly?
Once we pause it, but yeah, sure.
Read it.
I can't read it. You're moving too much.
The only
You
way
can read it
get
to us. We got the picture. Go ahead.
All
All right, it says the only way to get a tiger to eat someone is to cover them in some kind of oil. So, like, she even admitted that she knows what to put onto something to
sardine
get
oil.
a tiger to eat it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because she said that because that's when they either put that or perfume or cologne on his shoes when
Right.
the tiger started dragging him. So that's when she was talking about it.
Yeah, she specifically said what it takes to get a tiger to eat something.
It was sardine oil. It was no other oil. It was sardine oil.
Right. No, she's a crazy
Just
bitch.
one thing.
And I
But,
hope she gets what's coming.
My take on the whole thing before we wrap this up quickly is maybe, I don't know when this was released. I haven't looked. I just think it fell into everybody's lap now that everybody's been quarantined. But was it released? Do you guys know? Was it released like literally when COVID hit? Like, this was like the plan the whole time. Like, this guilty pleasure for everybody, this train wreck, everybody's going to watch it because we're all cooped up inside. Or was this like released a while ago and someone just came across it?
I have it right here. First episode date was March 20th, 2020.
Boom. Perfect. That was probably the first COVID case in general. I mean, just in general, but whatever.
Is it planned release? Because they
What?
usually plan, right? Like, I can see what April's got.
Oh, you can look forward and you can plan to it.
So, did the government know about COVID-19? Is that where you're going?
Geez, there we go.
Yeah, because they
Maybe
knew about Joe Exotic.
that is the next. Hey, we'll just you guys made your debuts tonight. We're definitely gonna have a follow up at this point for government conspiracy. So do you guys' homework. That'll be the next episode. But
I think I'm gonna make a shirt for Belly Up. A Joe Exotic shirt.
That's what we said. I mean, Joe Exotic. I mean, I've seen Joe Exotic shirts flying right now.
I've been working on one. I just want to make sure it's right.
I've seen them all over, but
I know, but I make the best shirts. Everybody else makes fucking rookie shirts.
There we go. I agree with you.
Right.
Hey, confidence.
Yeah, I mean, Old Road, they just put like legend on everything. It's like so simple. I could fucking do that. I'm trying to make good quality designs.
Something that stands out. Check out those Talladega Nights, right? You got Ricky Bobby. What do you got? Over there?
Yeah. That's my Teespring, or is it no T Public? That's my
Yeah.
T Public store. But I don't shout that out because that's not belly up.
Hey man, that's the plug I was going to give you.
Thank you.
But hey. Anyways, I appreciate you guys joining me tonight. We did well. We talked about the Tiger King. We tried to keep it as entertaining as possible. If you guys out there in America disagree with us, you're probably in the 0.5 or 1% as far as Carole
And if
and
you're not
what
in
she
America,
did.
fuck you.
Yeah, but either way, I mean, feel free to drop us a line. Let us know that we're wrong because we are the Tiger King experts at this point. We are self-proclaimed. We'll probably get nominated for some kind of awards for this. So if you made it this far, we appreciate it. But on behalf of myself and Belly Up Sound Off, I got Rattlesnake, Randy, and Tom with me. I appreciate you guys being in here with me. To the two new guys, like I said, we'll have to follow it up. Appreciate you guys being a part of the show, and we'll be back soon.
Peace.
Hey, thanks for having me.
All right, you got it?
Yeah.